Hey there, welcome back to the channel. This video will be a part 1 of my newly acquired BMW E46 Wagon Chronicles here. I got this car for free. Well, not entirely. I am trading my time, parts, and labor for this car. Meaning, the owner of this car, well, previous owner, also has an E46 convertible that I'll be doing work to. This wagon sat in his garage for 5 years, and he offered me a trade. My time and effort on his car for this wagon. So, as you can see, I partook, and I am now daily driving this car. I'm going to start by swapping out these wheels, because we have a bent one. Probably also going to swap over this hood to the proper hood, as this is a pre-facelift sedan hood, so you can see the gaps in the headlights here are entirely wrong for this facelift car. It is a 325xi, meaning all-wheel drive. It is orient blue in color with a tan interior, which I do plan on swapping to black. It is an automatic transmission, but that is not a deal breaker, as I do not mind having an automatic for a daily driver. It is just more convenient to me. You'll see the engine bay a little dirty in here. This is what a car sitting for 5 years looks like. It actually sat in a garage, which is much better than sitting outside. So the first things you'll notice are the missing vanity covers, as well as the cabin air filter tray. They were included, however, and were in the back of the car. As far as driving the car, it's sitting for so long, there were flat spots in the tires, so it was an awfully bumpy ride the whole way to the shop. But after further driving, the lumpiness is slowly going away, meaning the tires are getting back to normal shape. However, we do have a bent wheel back here, so we're going to swap out these wheels today and potentially the hood. Just some simple things to get this project rolling. Now, the parts I just mentioned, the wheels and the hood, I obviously need to acquire them. I have a solution, and the solution is to acquire a parts car, which I have right here. Now, funnily enough, this car was also owned by the same person. I bought this car a couple months ago from the guy. It's also a 325xi, all-wheel drive, same exact thing, just a sedan platform. It had some issues that I corrected, been daily driving it since, and then he offered the wagon for that, the work deal, so I took it. Now I have both these cars. So, we'll be taking this hood and putting it on this car. Now if you look, I cannot make this stuff up, okay? Both these cars, they are orient blue cars, right? They both have replacement hoods with the wrong color blue, which happen to be the same color blue, it looks. And we also, when it comes to missing parts in the front bumper, this little piece of trim in here on the passenger side is missing on the wagon, and on the sedan, it's missing on the driver's side. Isn't that funny? So, I'll be swapping parts from this car onto the wagon, because the wagon is much cleaner. The body on this car is rough. Take a look-see. This little piece of red fabric here is actually a souvenir from a car wash in Virginia. I left it on there because it's funny. But yes, we'll be swapping these wheels over onto that and stuff like that. Also, the interior of this car, which I put into it, is a black interior with the columns, brush trims. Great candidate for a swap for the wagon over there. Okay, so I'll probably be doing that. This car was originally tan. We didn't have a tan armrest and stuff on hand to put in, so it is what it is. So, with that being said, let's get to work. And now we have a set of different wheels swapped onto the wagon. We can now begin by replacing the hood, or I mean swapping the hood, actually. Let's do it. Okay, the hood is on. Now for the hardest part, at least in my opinion, is adjusting it properly so it shuts and opens smoothly. I like to leave the bolts loose and then I'll shut it slowly, let it find its sweet spot here, which typically I judge by the spring pins here that grab the latches. If they feel pretty smooth. You also want to watch the gaps here, make sure they're equal. Whole way back. Let's try a test close here. Ooh, that felt pretty nice. That wasn't too bad for a first attempt. Now, with the hood closed, I like to pull up on both sides to feel those latches. Make sure they're hooked in. You'll know if they're not because one side will really lift up. As you can see, both sides are hooked up. Now, as you can see, the passenger side is totally loose. The driver's side is locked. So, there we go. We'll have to play with the pins in here. Now we have to play with this more than likely to get a more smooth opening out of the latch. We can loosen these two T30s right here, and these brackets are slotted so that can have a lot of movement. And once again, with those bolts loose, you find the sweet spot where that pin comes dead center into there. Now what holds the hood closed is this latch right here. See this little ring looking thing? That actually, see that opens up like that? Whenever you pull the lever for your hood release, that is what is opening. It goes like that. And that little ring in there, it grabs the top of this whenever that spring is pushed up. It grabs the top of that pin. Okay, that's how it locks in. Now, with this kidney grill removed, we can now watch that hood pin going into its latch. And we'll see how off-centered it is. There it goes. Okay, so from this angle, it doesn't look too bad in there, right? Well, if you look in the back, hard to see back in there. I know it's hard to see in there, but that pin is indeed too far forward in its latch. So we'll just loosen up those two T30s up in there and let the pin do its thing, or move it by hand, one of the two. There we go. So now the latch is snug, but not too snug. So it can still freely move. Okay, there. Now it pretty much just fell into place. Now that the hood pin found its proper position, we'll just open the hood back up. And since we didn't loosen it too much, it should just stay where it wants. We'll just put the hood about right there and we'll snug it down. I now have the hood fully adjusted to where I'm happy with it. Check it out. Bring it down. We're going to have a nice free springing motion. Those are those hood springs freely compressing, and those are the pins freely entering the latch before they get locked in. And then to actually close the hood, just a little push like that. Now we'll do the open test. Check that out. Actually, I think putting the hose in first is the answer, as it's more stiff. I am now sticking my stiff hose in the hole. Yeah. This hole's pretty small and tight. Can barely fit anything in there. And then we have some rubber grommets here. Now I recommend all my fellow men out there to use rubbers on their stiff hose that goes into holes, okay? It avoids chafing and other potentially expensive issues. Now there actually is a secondary rubber here. Now, it's not always necessary to double wrap your stiff hose with a rubber grommet, but in this scenario, BMW knows best, okay? And there it is. We now have protection on both ends of the harness. Now check that out. That looks a lot better with the proper fitting hood, yeah? And also in this light, the color isn't too far off, but I assure you, out in the sun, you will see the difference in these shades of blue. I feel that it's now time for a test drive to see if these wheels got rid of that vibration I was feeling. Let's do it. There is a check engine light on. I read the codes. We have some lean codes, meaning either a vacuum leak or potentially a MAF. So the next video we're going to do probably a smoke leak test on the engine to find any vacuum leaks. Man, nothing like an E46, they say. Nothing like an E46. And I agree. 155,000 miles on her. Oh, it feels better already. Those tires had some flat spots, and the one rear passenger was bent pretty badly. I felt it with each revolution as I was coming to a stop. All right, let's go. Well, this thing feels smooth, man. Real smooth. Yeah, as far as vibration, there really is not much going on anymore. That's awesome. This thing had a really bad vibration at certain speeds. Handle's pretty nice. You hear some things moving around behind me there on the seat. But yeah, overall the car feels really good. Well, it appears that we are dripping coolant following that test drive. Let's see what is going on with this thing. Well, that's all for today's video. If you found today's footage to be useful, knowledgeable, or simply entertaining for you, please consider subscribing to my channel, as I highly appreciate it. I'll see you guys in part 2. Catch you later.